Mr. DiPatri, how's it going, buddy?
Great. How about yourself?
Pretty good, man. Thanks for taking a few minutes. Wanted to catch up with the Crusaders. What's going on with you guys, man? Nice win last night over Middle. That was a hot team coming in.
Yeah, they were playing well, no question about it. It was a nice win. We avenged the loss from December 20th, and things are looking up for us right now.
Yeah, you guys have really kind of clawed your way back into that Cal United race. I mean, you're right there with Middle and some of these other schools.
Yeah. It looks like we're tied right now, and I guess we have the second half of the schedule to go and see what happens the rest of the way.
Now, what do you try to do with the second half of the schedule? You've seen all these teams once. Do you try to do anything different? How much do you take away from the first game? Does that matter at all, or do you try to just keep doing what you're doing?
A little bit of both. It depends on the opponent. Depends on how you match up with the team. We definitely try to do a few things different. Last night versus Middle versus the first time. Some of the other games we may do similar things. Got to know yourself and got to know your opponent. Yeah.
Well, you guys played some great defense yesterday, particularly in the first half, holding Middle under 10 points in the first half. That's a pretty good trick.
Yeah. We've been really working on our defense and rebounding. That was clearly one of our weaknesses early in the year, and starting to come around.
Talk about some of your star players. The McMullen girl, Lauren Moretti. These are some kids that have been around the program for a while. We've heard their names throughout the last year or two, and that's what you need. Some girls who have some experience, can put the ball in the basket and really lead you guys, especially when you have some struggles early in the season.
No question. Our three seniors are four-year varsity players for us. They've been around the program. They've learned what it takes to win and be successful. And sometimes that takes time for kids. And I think beating Middle was an important step for our program overall as well, because it's such a local rivalry, and I think our kids needed to understand that it was a basketball game, and we had to beat them on the basketball court. It didn't matter who's friends with who's not friends.
Right.
you got to go out and play, and you got to execute. And our seniors helped lead the way. As a matter of fact, I have one of my players with me right now. We're driving down to practice now.
Oh, yeah.
Brielle Herbert. Yeah. I have Brielle Herbert with me in the car right now.
Hey, always working, man. Always working. That's how you get to these postseason tournaments every year.
Absolutely. You got to put the time in. It's coaching high school basketball now is it's pretty intense. You have to be really organized to get it done right. No question, especially when you have an hour commute each way going back and forth.
Yeah, right. Now, Coach, were you surprised that you guys got off to a little bit of a slow start? Being that you have a couple of 4-year starters, and what's been the big difference here in January?
Well, we beat Mainland opening night. So that was a real big win for us. And, looking at our schedule, our schedule was definitely tougher this year than it was last year. Our record right now, sitting at 11-3, was a little bit better at this point last year, but we have significantly more power points. And that's kind of indicative of the fact that we've played a tougher schedule. So, sometimes the record is deceiving. It doesn't really measure the grit and the will of the team. And, we're definitely a better team than we were at this point last year. There's no question about it.
Have you seen things changing over the last, say, week or two? A little more energy? Or, what's been the biggest difference here lately?
Well, we didn't play well against Spirit. And we really focused on grinding out our offense and improving our defensive effort and, really the execution of the game plans. I mean, if you're going to win these big games, you have to go in with a plan and you have to be able to execute it. You can't just play basketball against some of these, really good, well-coached teams like the Middles, the Ocean Cities, the Holy Spirits, the Mainlands, and expect to be successful. You have to go in with a plan and you have to execute it. And we did. We did last night. Last Saturday, we played Cherry Hill East. They're a good team, and we didn't play particularly well in the fact that we didn't shoot well. Everything else we did okay. we just didn't put the ball in the basket, and you're not going to win. So you have to be good at all parts of the game, and if you're going to be successful against these quality teams. And that's one of the reasons you want to schedule these games, because that's what makes you better for the important ones, like last night.
Talking with Steve DiPatri, head coach of the Wildwood Catholic Girls basketball team. Coach, how do you handle this part of the season? You're kind of in that third, fourth week of January. It's been a little bit of a grind for 2 months. Do you take your foot off the gas pedal a little bit of practice maybe to kind of keep these girls fresh for the big games coming up in February? How do you handle the next, say, 2 to 3 weeks?
Well, you have to keep your team fresh. That's really important, especially when you're not playing 9, 10 kids. We're typically playing 6, 7 kids, most varsity games. And how you practice, how you differentiate your drills. This morning we cut the practice time down because we play tomorrow night again. And you have to be wise in the way you play. I've seen teams go too hard practice and not have it next day in the game. And it's a lesson you learn as a younger coach. And, it's my 20th year, and with Fran St. John with me, who's been around for 50 years, we we talk about that a lot. Yeah, how to prepare kids, and when to go a little quicker, and maybe when to do a little bit extra shooting in practice. It'll be one of those kinds of days.
Now, 20 years, do you find yourself having to reinvent yourself a little bit? I know I was doing a little interview with Gene Allen of Atlantic City the other day, and he was saying that, you have to be able to adapt with the times, and kids maybe aren't the same as they were 20 years ago. Do you find yourself thinking about that sometimes at night when you get home from a practice or a game and say, hey, maybe I have to do things a little bit differently here?
Oh, no question. I'm evaluating myself, my team, and our opponents every day on the way home from practice. There's no question about it. You have to. The way you do things, the way the game's changed. Gene and I are both Twitter guys. We're on Twitter. We're looking up basketball drills and stuff like that. It's important to stay fresh. Some of the techniques we used last night were certain things I learned from some of my former players that are coaching in college. Picking their brains, that sort of thing. If you're going to do this and be successful at it for a long period of time, like Gene, you have to stay fresh and on top of the game.
Now, Coach, how difficult is it for you to keep up with this teenage slang? I constantly need translations.
Well, it's tough. It's tough. So, thankfully there's Google, and that's a help for me for sure.
Good stuff, Coach. We're up against the break. Thanks for taking a few minutes. Take it easy on practice. You got a game tomorrow. Give him a little bit of a break today.
Yes, sir. Yeah, as a matter of fact, we're playing Atlantic City tomorrow night at Tom Williams' event at 7:00.
Yeah, it should be a good game.
Yep. Hopefully it will. Hopefully we'll put the ball in the hole and come out with another big win for us.
All right, man. Get your rest tonight, and we'll catch up with you soon.
Thanks, sir. Thanks for having me on. Take care.
All right, man. Have a good weekend.
You too. Now, bye-bye.
That was Steve DiPatri, longtime coach. He's now the coach of Wildwood Catholic.